Good morning and welcome to our very first customer webinar of 2022. I'm Aaron Gillette, Marketing Director at TownNews. The past year has been a busy one. In the last 12 months, we've unleashed more than 230 new features and upgrades. At this special customer webinar, our product team will highlight the impressive new features and updates you may have missed in 2021. And they'll also give a sneak peek at some of the standout advances that are in the pipeline for early 2022. Today, we'll hear from Christine Masters, Senior Director of Core Platforms, Leah Foss, Syndication Product Manager, Cody Dyer, Block's Total CMS Product Manager, Derek Gebler, VP of Broadcast and Video, Laura Rausch, Block's Now App Product Manager, and Bridget Sibthorpe-Moker, Director of Audience. As a special bonus, webinar attendees who are present for more than 80% of today's webinar will automatically be entered into a drawing to win one of 5 Uber Eats lunch of your choice gift cards. So that's exciting and tasty. If you have any questions, please feel free to enter them in the QA box at any time. Other than that, we'll kick it off with Christine.
Hello, thank you very much. Yeah, we're really excited about some of these changes that we're going to talk about today. A couple of them, hopefully you've heard of before. We've talked about on a couple of other webinars, but we'd like to, again, go over these and just really highlight some of these new things. The first one that I really want to talk about is probably our biggest new feature of this year, which is our new dynamic collections. These has been out for a couple of months. Hopefully that you've been able to experiment with them. Essentially, in a collection, you are now able to switch to a search-based mode of essentially populating that collection, where you can establish you can establish a search for that particular collection, and then that's how that collection is populated. It allows you to have essentially an unlimited number of photos in that collection, which is something that we have limitations on with a curated manual collection. And one thing that I think is really exciting is it actually allows customers or end users to go to that particular collection and follow it so that they get updates of it over time, which is really cool. And we've actually seen, since this has launched, some new statistics showing that there is increased traffic back to those collections from users who are subscribing. So we're really excited about some of those initial statistics that we're seeing on these. If you're not familiar with this, there's actually 2 new designs that are related to the dynamic collections. A new search grid, which you can kind of see on the example here, as well as a special report, which is kind of a sort of a section looking design. So these are both things that we're really excited about in terms of engagement on the site and just really creating a better user experience for end users. Next slide. So this is another thing that I'm super excited about. I'm really interested to see some examples of this in the wild. So if you've turned on either of these features, actually feel free to send us an email and let us know some good examples of this, because we're really excited to see what you guys are able to do with this. But this next one is something that it's really solving a usability problem for the end user. You've probably heard stories of users that come to the site and they try to do a search for classifieds or maybe a search for pet ads or something like that. And really our search by default is searching for editorial stories. So this new option actually allows you to set up your URLs so that they can be searched within that main site search and help those users really find what they're looking for more easily. You can kind of see in this example here that we have on the screenshot, where I think I did a search for dog, and it essentially it still shows the content that you find by default down below. But if that particular search matches any of your searchable URLs on your site, it will say, did you mean to search for this section? And it will promote essentially the top URL that matches that search, so the user can to see if that's what they're actually looking for. So again, if they search for marketplace or classified as a word, they're probably trying to go to that section. And this way we can help them find that section. It's really easy to set up. You just do this within your URL map, make sure that your description and your titles are filled out, and then you can turn on the searchable box, and then those URLs start showing up in your search results. So again, we're really excited to see some of the usability from that feature. Next slide. And hopefully these are some things that you've noticed, but I kind of rolled them all together into one slide here. But we've done a whole bunch of stuff over this last year of really looking into some requests that our customers have made over the the last couple of months, a year or so, and have really focused on making some of those those admin features and making things simpler for admins that are using the system, make sure that things are more efficient and you have all the tools that you need. So we've launched a bunch of new features in this area, including, being able to get to the author field more easily, being able to search and find more easily your recently created blocks, adding keywords. There's a bunch of stuff that we've done, and hopefully those have been pleasant surprises as you use the system. And lastly, this is one that we're very excited about. We've done a lot of work on the front end templates to make sure that it is as easy as possible for the end users to be able to log in and interact with the site as easily as possible. And the numbers have shown that the better we make that login experience and the faster and easier and more clear it is to log into the site, more people will log in, and they experience the site as a logged in user in different ways and in better ways. So we can see already, looking at our statistics across the TownNews network as a whole, that we are actually seeing an increase in the percentage of logged in users, that over time we're seeing that this is obviously having an impact, and that a higher percentage of the users are logged in at any time. So we're really excited about some of those changes and the improvements that we've seen in our statistics over time. So just very quickly here, a couple of highlights that we're looking at on the block side for 2022. A really exciting new feature, it's in QA right now, that you guys are going to love, which is called automations. And it allows you to set up some rules, and then you actually have different, it's kind of like a mega batch edit. You can set up a rules and have like batch edit processes happening to those stories at save time. Again, it's in QA right now, and it's something that we should have out in a couple of weeks, and you guys are going to love this. We also have some things, digital first publishing, being able to have a draft mode of an article and make changes to it without it going public. Being able to have default images on a per section basis. So those of you who kind of upload the crime tape images and the gavel for crime stories and things like that as default images to kind of help improve the look of your site, those are going to have a new feature to handle that specifically. A new social tab in articles, so you can set and manage some of the social fields and OG information metadata for those articles, and more items coming soon. So we're really excited about this. So next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about our Rails platform. So next slide one more time. Probably one of our bigger features that we've had on the Rails platform is a new trending topics bar. This is something that, one way that it works that's really cool is it allows you both to have editorial control over promoting some of the sections that are shown there. So you can actually choose to promote maybe a subscription promotion or a special elections page, something like that. But it also has these really cool capabilities to do automation, where you can say that if there's a weather alert, you'd like the weather alert to show up as one of your trending topics. Or if there's breaking news, whenever that breaking news is posted to the site, it's automatically posted as a trending topic as well. So there's a lot of really cool things that you can do for this. And if this is something that you haven't set up yet, contact us and we can help you set that up. Next slide. We've also spent a lot of time on the Rails platform really looking at site performance and really trying to optimize the, how quickly the page loads and how the ads and other things work on the page to really make sure that that performance was optimized. And one of the big changes that we made is we're actually implementing a new system with our content delivery network, our CDN, to optimize the images as they're served from the CDN. So this is something that actually doesn't impact how the page itself is produced or even served. But on the CDN side, it actually will transform those images, turn them into the WebP format, which is a faster and high quality format, and serve those from the CDN that way, so to help improve download time for the users. We have a really quick graphic here that shows, this is just a one particular site as an example, where you can clearly see on their bandwidth for that site where that image optimization occurred as we built that out, and that it's had a pretty significant impact on their site. So we're excited about this change, and we think that that this is something that should help sites. Next slide. As for our Rails platform, for our highlights for 2022, we're really looking at advertising and performance. Again, are still some items that we are continually working on for the Rails platform. We have some new creative templates that we're going to roll out that will allow a new kind of an animated ad and a pull down ad and some other kind of scroll ads that will be creative templates that will be offered on the Rails platform that will really help kind of optimize those high impact ads on the site. We also have some additional advertising performance updates that we've identified that we're going to be making in terms of how ads are refreshed and ways to optimize the delivery of those ads so that we can get the best performance as possible. And we're working on some issues with elections and trying to improve that process, as well as just in general security updates. We did two-factor authentication this year and some other issues with performance. So we're really excited about moving ahead with some of these items and improving the Rails platform. I think that's it.
Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
For those updates on our core platforms. Now Leah Foss is going to talk about syndication.
Hi, good morning. You might not see all the syndication changes that we make behind the scenes, but our goal is to get content from any provider into or out of blocks in the most efficient manner possible. So we make our changes to keep up with that. Next slide, please. The top highlights for syndication in 2021 are we continue to work on the new Associated Press Media API, which includes new features and faster response times from Associated Press for more efficient workflows for customers. Many improvements for WordPress channels to support efficient distribution of content from our Rails CMS customers to Now apps. We migrated all CNN channels to the new CNN API. We also added the new PR Newswire channel as a source for content. We overhauled the Atom and RSS channels to create a new driver system to allow for support of many third-party RSS feed variants, such as iTunes, Send to News, New York Times, and more. Next slide. Coming up in 2022, you can expect to see that we're working on supporting Associated Press video content by creating Field 59 videos directly into blocks. We're also working on enabling metered content from Associated Press, and this will allow users to access a la carte products from Associated Press that you may have access to. Users will also be informed how many are left on the account and if there may be additional charges to use specific content. And there's many more things coming up in 2022.
Thank you, Leah. And now Cody Dyer, our product manager for Block's Total CMS, is going to talk about what's coming up in that product.
All right, Aaron, and thank you very much. And thank you everybody for your time and joining us here today. We're definitely excited about what's coming up and coming down the pipe for Block's Total CMS. Aaron, go ahead and go to the next slide here. We've been really working not only over the last 12 months, but really the last 24 months during the pandemic here to help enhance end user experience with upgrades for remote production. I'm going to touch a little bit more on distributed production here in a moment, but we've definitely taken into account other features, requests from sites. So these enhancements have included page tracker features, improvements to the Block's Total CMS client code, additional appliance and hosted resources. We revamped the Block Total CMS section on the help.townnews.com help site. In fact, the entire help site has been revamped, but we've got a lot of new additional resources that we have added to the Block Total CMS section. consolidated resource for remote users. That's going to be a part of the distributed production that I'm going to explain here in a moment. And infrastructure started for automated production, which is something that we'll touch on here in a moment as well. Go ahead, Aaron. All right, so distributed production. This is the first big thing that's coming down the pipe for us. This is now in a beta testing. We just got our first site signed up and ready to go. They'll be using distributed production with the first site. So we're still looking for a few other sites right now that are interested in possibly doing some beta testing for distributed production. But the kind of the 30,000 foot view for distributed production, we wanted to create an environment where remote users, specifically remote users, wouldn't have to rely on either the Blocks Total CMS appliance or a local file share. So distributed production is going to allow remote users to continue building pages without having to either remote in via VPN network or a remote desktop, a secure remote desktop. So this is going to allow pages to be uploaded to the CMS in a hosted environment and then be checked back out by the user on their own desktop using the TCMS shares stored locally on their machine. Again, this is right now available for free. This will be a free upgrade for all of our existing and future customers for Blocks Total CMS. Go ahead, Aaron. Highlights for 2022. So again, we're going to have the full release of distributed production phase 1. This is a pretty big project, so there's going to be a couple different phases here. Phase 1, we're looking to have that launched here early spring. Enhanced user interface to show addition production progress for Page Tracker, which kind of coincides with the Page Tracker approval system. We've been focusing a lot of our time and attention on the development side to enhance Page Tracker. We've got a lot of great feedback from our partners and clients at various sites about what we can do to improve Page Tracker. We've taken that feedback and really have dedicated a lot of time to improving the functionality of Page Tracker to make it more user-friendly and more features that will help obviously get the job done. Automated page production phase A. So that's gonna be the next biggie for us after distributed production. Automated page production is something that has been kind of on our radar for quite some time, but it's something that has really been focused on now that a lot of folks are working remotely, but we're also looking for ways to help our partners and clients speed up page production. So automated page production, I think, is really going to be something that's going to entice and help a lot of partners out once that's available. That's really going to allow a page to be designed, especially those standard pages like records, opinions, things that we do on a daily basis. It's going to allow the designer to put that and throw those assets on a page pretty fast. It's going to hopefully increase speed, page design speed, hopefully reduce it by, I'd say, 5 to 6 minutes per page. So that's going to be coming down the pipe here pretty soon. Distributed production, beta testing phase 2 will also be coming out later this year. Again, beta testing for phase 2, 2 different phases for remote production and distributed production, since they're 2 pretty big projects. Development has already started for automated production. That will also continue for phase B. That gets closer toward the end of the year. And then development for automated production with the InDesign server. So again, once these 2 first phases are thrown out or out into the field, we'll be able to do some more integration with the InDesign server through Creative Cloud that we're pretty excited about. Improved email notifications for assignments. That kind of integrates with some of our other products, but obviously Blocks Total CMS being a big part of that. So we are definitely wanting to improve the email notification system through assignments as well through Blocks Total CMS. And then the ability to open Adobe in-copy files from Edition, Wireframe, View, and Page Tracker. So the first couple steps of distributed production and automated production won't include Adobe in-copy files. But the long-term goal and solution for us is also to have Adobe in-copy files also available from Page Tracker. So that's something we're going to be working on down the road as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. And now Derek Gebler, our Vice President of Broadcast and Video, is going to talk about Field 59 VMS.
Hey, hello, good morning. I'd like to start off with Field 59 saying this has been a great year of growth for Field 59 VMS. And I'd like to talk about a few of the releases and improvements that we've had over this past year. Next slide. To start, One of the things that we've been working on at Field 59 is the ability to do related video at the end. We've always been able to do that, but what's different now is that what we're doing is we're doing an auto advance at the end of the video. So if your users watch a video to all the way to the end, we will have suggestions that your users can watch additional videos, and it will auto advance through the different videos so that you can actually have more ability to watch more videos. Another thing that we've added this year is a feature called Go Live Now. Go Live Now makes the going live experience faster. You can preset your rules so that if you have a common type breaking news event that you'd like to make sure that setting your schedule sometimes can add a couple extra steps. With the Go Live Now feature, you can preset up that schedule so that when the actual breaking event happens at that moment, it's a simple one button step process. So as more and more of our customers are doing live video, this is a common feature that's been requested of us. Some of the things that we've been doing on the API side of things, this is more behind the scenes, but what we're doing is having a tighter integration with the block CMS so that videos can get into Field 59 in a way that is more transparent and more seamless. With blocks uploading a video, what we're working on is the ability for videos to be uploaded directly from blocks into Field 59 and back again. So there's no need to leave the environment and switch environments. You can actually stay in the blocks environment as you create your videos. Another feature that we released this year is faster autoplay. What this really means is this is a better way to detect whether or not a browser can support autoplay. We've always done that in the past because as we get into the environment where different browser developers have different standards, and depending on what browser version it is, who's making it, some support autoplay in different types of formats. What we're doing is we're checking to see with the browser what version it is, does it support autoplay, and if not, what do you do? How do you support that? So the process we've tried to cut down on some of the time that it takes to check with the browser. We're talking seconds or milliseconds there, but every second counts. And so that was one of the releases that we did this year. And then lastly, probably the largest invisible release that you may or may not have seen is that we have completely upgraded our framework. So the underpinnings of what the Field 59 VMS runs on, we did a complete rewrite and upgrade so that we can make more improvements in the future. The fact is that the user interface looks the same, but underneath it all, it has more upgraded code, and the framework itself is something that we can scale on that gets us into the future for the next 5 years. Next slide. Coming up in 2022, probably our single largest push and probably the most exciting thing that we're doing right now is called dynamic ad insertion. You may have heard it as dynamic ad insertion. Possibly you've heard it as server-side ad insertion, but this is a way of inserting commercials seamlessly into a live stream to create a broadcast-like TV experience. And so this really shines in the OTT environment when you have OTT apps and you're doing a continuous 24/7 live stream. We have the ability to insert ads at the appropriate times so that we can fill in ad breaks instead of having dead air. You'll be able to run local and programmatic ads in the middle of your broadcast. So largely this applies to broadcasters, but there are applications for all types of media companies to be able to use something like this in the future. So this is the main push for our video team. It's also significant to our ads team, and it's also very significant to our OTT CTV team as well. So it's probably the single most exciting thing we've got coming up in 2022. The other thing that we're working on is we have a new version of our video player. Again, it's a new framework. It will be seamless and you won't notice that it happened, but for us, it will allow us to do some things that we weren't able to do in the future. So have look out for that. But in the end, this is one of those releases that if we do it right, you won't notice. So just keep your eye out for that. We're also working on methods to create and schedule an entire live stream based off your own video library so that you could create a live-like experience based on some sort of schedule or rundown or playlist, and that gets pushed out as a live stream. This creates the ability then for you to also schedule in, like I was talking about dynamic ad insertion, have a live stream with dynamically inserted ads during this pseudo live TV broadcast. And then lastly, what's going on, we're still pushing ahead for a WordPress type plugin for anybody that's on WordPress, not just our Rails customers, but also anybody out there in the wild that's interested in using the Field 59 VMS. We want to make it easier for you to integrate and run on any WordPress site out there in the future.
Thank you, Derek. And back to you, Derek.
And taking, thanks. So this Derek guy is doing a lot of talking. So let me talk about connected TV. We've talked about connected TV in the past. Maybe it's had a different name. We've referred to it in the past as OTT. So over the top. Connected TV, we will refer to as CTV. But what it really means is that these are the apps that run, that plug directly into your TV. And really CTV is TV. It's just a different way of consuming television, pre-recorded content as well as live content. Going into what we've got covered for this past year, there was a lot of work, and there's a lot of detail. You can watch our last webinar that was pushed out November 2021. Be sure to check that out. That's where we go into a lot of detail about what was pushed out this year. Some of the things that went out this year, we've got releases that had to do with monetizing your videos with programmatic ad targeting. There's a lot of different things as far as personalization. So viewers can pick up where they left off, regardless of their devices. More related content. You can save and watch later. You can encourage your users to log in. And when they log in, they can get a lot of additional features. But you as a publisher, as a TV station, you'll be able to collect data off of those folks that are logging in. It's not required, it's an optional login, but it's another way to engage with your viewers and be able to get information about who they are. And in exchange, you're offering up personalization that makes their viewing experience unique just to them. So some of the other things that you can do that we've added to the system have been, promoting your next live stream. If you've got multiple live streams, we've provided a way for you to highlight what those are, when those are, and showing what the schedule is going to be for the next live stream that's coming through. Often in the past, we've relied on, images or slates where we're saying what's coming up next. This way it can be dynamic so that as you adjust your schedule, particularly in Field 59, you update your live streaming schedule in Field 59, it will update automatically on your OTT CTV device. And then lastly, we've got some branding additions that we've made so that we make a more consistent branding for your channel. Next. Coming up in the future, we'll be working on more things that have to do with CTV analytics. We'll be working on smart content feeds. That's more dynamic content based on your users' unique data. We'll be working on niche channel ideas. And I think one of the things that I also touched on would be, we want to make sure that anybody that's on our OTT devices has the ability to do server-side ad insertion. That's going to be a large push for many of our users going into 2022. We'll have additional device authentication. We'll be doing some low-risk entry for publishers, improving ad targeting for video, increasing customer onboarding efficiency. So that's as we bring on more customers, we want to make that process as fast as we can. We want to cut down on the build time it takes for our apps to get built and released into the wild. And then lastly, we want to have a universal setup for all of our platforms. So if you're a CTV customer or if you're a Now app customer, we want to have an onboarding process that's similar across the board.
Thank you, Derek. Now, Laura Rausch, our product manager for our mobile app, is going to talk about what was released in 2021 for Blocks now and what's coming up shortly.
Thanks, Aaron. Hi, everyone. It's nice to be here with you today. Can we move on to my next? So here's a little bit about what we accomplished in 2021. We're going to read through this list here. I'll go into some detail about some of these as we go forward. So we have we're worked on a new live stream presentation to help users engage more easily with that. We're going to go into that a little bit in just ahead. We also, for people who are using Audience Plus and also have videos, there's a new recommended video block that works two ways. You can either have users see recommended videos for them to play, or also show videos that they previously watched. There's a block that you can drag into your app there that will automatically display that for logged in users. It also allows you to save video across devices. So if you save it on the web, you can see it in the app. Additionally, we've launched what we're calling our AppMan software. And this is a lot of our newer features are based on the ability to run things a little bit differently. One thing we have is when you get set up with AppMan push notifications, you'll be able to avoid sending duplicate push notifications from different sections. So if a story is in two sections like sports and breaking news, you can just have that go one time out to users and not twice. Also, there's universal deep linking. So if you're texting a story or users get a link to a story from some other place, an email or a text, that article can open up into the app. A big thing related to the new AppMan software is we're able to offer in-app purchases. We're going to go more into detail with that as well. And we also have a couple of new weather things, some native weather functionality. We have some weather blocks. If you're using those, there is a way for users to customize their weather and to be able to choose from a list of common locations for the user, or get to have the app know where you are and give you the weather for your location. We also have some improvements to the saved and share feature, which we'll show you ahead. And we have a native video block that allows you to put in your asset feed wherever you like, just videos from your CMS. And we have a search page overhaul, which this is just a basic cleanup UI improvement of that. That looks really nice. Next slide, please. So this is an example of if you have a live stream, our new video player at the top, that banner with your live stream. Previously, there was just a banner option, and now you can choose in your page customizations to have this player show up. And there is, it works with your, if you have a schedule, it can go on and off automatically based on the schedule that's there, or you can turn it on and off manually. There's also the option to put a pre-roll ad with this feature, and it's just an easy setup. If you need more information, let us know. Next slide, please. This is a big one here. We are now offering the ability for you to sell in-app purchase auto-renewing subscriptions. This involves quite a bit of setup, which we're happy to help you with, but you can set up in your Apple App Store Connect and Google Play Developer Console in-app products. And here we just sort of want to explain the difference. You're actually selling a subscription to the app only, not a subscription to all of your content on other platforms. So the difference between if a user can log in with their Blocks user login, they get access, they can log into the app, they can log into the web, and using all of that same login. A challenge with that right now that we've had for some time is that we have to change the way you promote that. We can't promote that on the iOS side because Apple doesn't let us promote your web subscriptions in app. So, but the benefits of having it, of using users logging in with Blocks is it does integrate with third-party billing and it collects user information. When you go ahead and set up an in-app purchase, it only gives users access to the app. So the user is logged in with their Google account or their Apple account, so they can't go back to the web and log in after having purchased an in-app subscription. the one good thing about it is you can promote that in the app for people to purchase that in-app subscription, but there will be no third-party billing integration or user information collected from those. And if you're interested in that, please let us know. Another interesting option here is this customize your weather list page. If it's a new weather experience for users that if you have weather enabled in settings and your weather icon turned on, a location button will be added to all your native weather cards. And if you click that location button or the customize your weather option in the settings, it will take users to a weather list page that looks like this. And this page controls the data displayed on all of your weather cards, and users can enter multiple zip codes and refer back to locations of interest. So if I was on a trip and I changed to Jacksonville, as you see there, and I come back to Pittsburgh, I can switch to Pittsburgh or back and forth if there are common locations. It also has the option to show weather around you. Next. So this is sort of a simple but more elegant change to the way we do saved and share. It used to be that you would have to swipe a card to the sides to expose the either save or share buttons, which was maybe less intuitive. And now you see the little icons down at the bottom of the card. That's just easier for users to find. Next slide. So that was a lot about 2021. For 2022, things we're looking ahead for is to provide more meaningful reporting and analytics, expand product offerings for radio with a audio live stream. We're going to build and launch a native application, which means that the article page, which is a web view now, will be a native view. And with that, we're also going to have a native e-edition integration with the app, adding weather radar, and also a native subscription page, which right now that's a web view pop-up, but that'll be something we can control more with the app. And some other things are standardizing parameters for videos, fast tags, and add content mapping, which helps to get some third-party advertising for video. It's more attractive for advertisers. And we're going to, as Derek mentioned, increase the onboarding efficiency with that AppMan software so that you can update and add all of the icons and things to your app just through the Blocks interface, and create a universal setup for live assets across our platform. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. And now Bridget Simthorpe-Moker, our Director of Audience, is going to talk about what's new in audience development.
Thank you, Erin. Guys, I'm so excited to be here today because we have made so much progress in just the last year. Go ahead and go to the next slide, Erin. Thank you. The biggest focus for audience development in TownNews has been on driving consumer revenue. Primarily that has been, related to subscriptions, but we are also extending what we can offer to memberships as well. So not just newspaper subscriptions, we're looking at membership, broadcast, and overall engagement for our sites. So the primary thing we've been working on to drive that revenue is adding enhancements into Audience Plus, our dynamic paywall software. So the single biggest improvement is the one-page purchase, where an end user can make a subscription or membership sign-up payment without leaving an article. I know that's something that has been requested for a long time, so we were really excited to launch that this year. So along with that, we have built some significant pieces into Blocks, into access control, to allow you to modify and really customize the end user experiences. So that's really called Offer Builder. It's a marketing tool inside of Blocks that allows you to take control over what end users see. Because with Audience Plus, it's not just a one-size-fits-all meter anymore. You're able to actually construct different user journeys and different paywalls to show different groups of people, depending on their engagement. So you can even, with these updates, have different pricing offers set up to different groups. So one use case, for example, might be, I want to show a print offer to users that are inside the DMA. Maybe we only want to show digital offers for those outside. For brand lovers, people that visit the site almost every day, maybe they're triggering the paywall, maybe they're just hanging out on the homepage. we want to offer them something even more enticing to push them over the edge to subscription. So those are just some examples of what we're able to do. And as you can see from these screenshots, the focus has really been on that in-user engagement, that in-user experience, and really customizing that to give you the tools to be able to hone in on your strategy. And as I mentioned, we're not just focused on subscription and paywall. We've really been working on expanding what Audience Plus can do. So we want to offer different opt-in points throughout the site. So if you'd like to run a membership model, whether you're a digital-first organization, a broadcast, radio, or even a newspaper that wants to run a membership, you can do that with Audience Plus, and you don't necessarily have to run a paywall, although we have very, very advanced paywall technology. You're able to use landing pages, buttons, different opt-in points throughout the site, customized to what you would like to sell without necessarily running a paywall. So we're really, really excited to expand the scope of what Audience Plus can do. Of course, it is built on a meter, and so we have advanced metering tech. We've added a lot of ad blocker detection and much more advanced detection for browser fingerprinting, which specifically means that we want to anonymously identify someone for the purpose of enforcing the paywall. If they're trying to get around the paywall for incognito, for example, an in-private browsing window. So those are things we take very seriously because we want to give you the tools to stop those leaky paywalls and really increase your consumer revenue. We've also been working on the access control software itself. That's what drives Audience Plus in blocks. In addition to adding the offer builder marketing tool and giving you all these new features, we've really been trying to make it easier to use, easier to build your rules, to modify them. And we're even working on a syndication tool that will allow you to run, sort of a single site that has rules that are mirrored on multiple sites for those larger partners. As Christine mentioned, we've been working really hard on login sign up. That's all her, but I'm really excited to say that big pieces of those improvements are inside of access control. So in the same way that you can subscribe without leaving an article or become a member, you can log in without leaving an article. And that's really, really crucial for us to help support you in increasing that first party data, increasing known users. The memberships part I talked about, but I do want to touch on retention and email improvements. Although, we're talking about Audience Plus and the paywall and subscription software, there's so many other components of other products that are related to that overall ecosystem of helping to drive consumer revenue. So retention pieces are very, very important, and that's a big focus for us right now and in the first half of this year. Email improvements are important too. We are working on pieces right now to give you the chance to use HTML-enabled, really powerful emails for subscription, for instant login, forgot password, those sorts of things. So we're going to have really, really good defaults with nice branding, but that you can completely customize and change to however you would like. Next slide, please. So I think the biggest question is, okay, we've done a whole lot of things, but has it produced any results? And so much like Christine and the others here, we have been looking at an aggregate of performance across TownNews partners. And I'm really, really excited to say that year over year, we're seeing an average of 32% growth in conversions. And that's not just limited to these Audience Plus partners that get all of the benefits. This is all the partners that have a subscription or membership strategy on their sites. So we're really, really driving results. Of course, the Audience Plus partners that are using that one-page purchase, they're seeing more like double conversions. So if you're interested in looking into that, please do. It's really, really worth the ROI. And also, conversions isn't the only metric we look at for success. We also look at how many users are being exposed to offers. So meter stop rate is one way to look at that. If your conversions are not quite up to par where you'd like them to be in terms of volume, you're not getting enough starts, it's really critical to look at how many users are being exposed to offers. So Audience Plus, being the paywall technology that it is, has a lot of ways to increase the number of users that see offers. Put up a paywall when somebody's using an ad blocker, for example. And I'm really excited to say that, again, across the TownNews partners, we've seen a doubling of the users that are seeing those offers. And that's increased usage of Audience Plus. That's just increased usage of all the technologies that we've been adding onto this year. Really, really critical for growth. And I'm really excited to see these numbers climb. Next slide. So what's next? Like everyone on this call, we've really been working hard to hone in on what's going to make the biggest difference and the most value to you, our partners. So a lot of these things we are going to learn a lot and continue to grow with. But our biggest focus right now is really on retention, sort of behind the scenes strategies. So as you could tell, we were focused a lot in the past year on acquisition of new starts and getting more people in the door. Right now, we want to make sure that we're helping you keep them. So what are the ways in which we could help you improve renewal flows, reduce involuntary churn, those sorts of things to help you, again, keep those subscribers that you're gaining. So those are some of the most important things on our list right now. And a lot of them may be invisible, but if someone goes to renew their subscription in very short order, we're going to have a new renewal page that allows you to simply update a credit card, things like that. We are also working on retention or acquisition strategies too, and ways to help you increase your email leads. So for our email reach partners that have Audience Plus, you're going to be able to have an email newsletter wall, similar to a paywall or a registration wall. So we're really excited about that one. We're also going to have better integration with the Now app. So today, if you have the Now app and Audience Plus, you can run a paywall, an Audience Plus paywall, and the rules mirror each other on both platforms. With these increased controls later in the year, you're going to have the ability to have really, really finite control over the paywall in Audience Plus, in the Now app through Audience Plus, that is. So a lot of really good things happening there. The retention part, a lot of that is we want to provide you with the analytics to make good decisions and the customer contact if a subscriber does churn. So that's another piece we're working on with subscription. And back to the acquisition part, we've had a lot of requests for one-tap payments like Apple Pay, Google Pay. As Laura mentioned, we do have those in the app now. You can do the in-app purchases, but we want to give you the tools to do that on the web. So we are going to do that this year. Our focus right now is on that retention. We want to help keep as many subscribers as possible, and then we're going to continue to work on those acquisition pieces. Online cancellation, we're going to make a simple online cancellation form to give you some assistance in becoming in compliance with FTC rules and visa guidelines. So again, not quite as exciting on that one, but we want to make sure that you have the ability to reach those customers and to save them. And finally, we mentioned the email notifications. We've gotten the back end work done, and now we're moving on towards getting those new defaults available to you. That's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Bridget. Now I'm going to very briefly introduce an exciting new program that we're just in the process of rolling out right now. Digital programmatic advertising can present a conundrum for local media organizations looking to deliver predictable results. There's huge revenue potential, but ever-changing rates, the difficulty of selling all of your available inventory, and slow payment from unreliable vendors can make it feel like the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. That's where Yield Up by TownNews comes in. Yield Up is your turnkey, your path to premium guaranteed programmatic advertising revenue. Here's how it works. When you sign up for Yield Up by TownNews, TownNews purchases all of your non-excluded programmatic and remnant ad inventory. No more unsold inventory. Then our digital advertising experts manage your inventory to maximize your revenue potential. Our industry-leading expertise and ultra-advanced advertising tech stack are put to work to ensure that you're capitalizing on every opportunity on your site. When I say non-excluded inventory, what I mean is non-excluded impressions are impressions that are not included in the revenue calculation. So things like ad blocked traffic, invalid traffic, unfilled impressions, and locally sold impressions. That's what is covered by non-excluded. When you sign up for Yield Up by TownNews, you also get guaranteed rates. Yield Up eliminates the guesswork and serves up reliable programmatic ad revenue while shifting the risk of declining rates from your books to ours. We provide you with your guaranteed CPM rate 20 days before the first of each month. And our massive scale assures that you're getting premium rates from the best tier 1 supply side platforms, or SSPs. And finally, Yield Up by TownNews serves up incredibly rapid payment. With Yield Up by TownNews, you get more predictable cash flow while eliminating costly chargebacks and late payments. We deliver the best payment terms and turnaround, net 30, in the local media industry. This is a super exciting new program that like I said, we're just now rolling out. If you have any questions about it, please email our ad ops department at adops@townnews.com. If you have any technical questions about how it works or anything like that. If you're interested in signing up, please contact your salesperson. And that goes for all of the programs and products that we've talked about today. If it's something that you don't already have, please contact your salesperson. If you have it and you have questions about how to use it, how to enable any of the features that we've discussed, please contact your salesperson or contact our CS department. Otherwise, I'll move on to the final slide here. If for documentation on any of the features we've discussed today, please feel free to visit our help.townnews.com site. As mentioned, that site has been fully revamped and is a really great resource. If you have questions about launching any of the products or services that we've discussed, please contact our support site at 800-293-9576 or support.townnews.com. Of course, if you don't already have a product that we've discussed here, please feel free to contact your salesperson. They'll be happy to help you out with that. Community.townnews.com is a great place to swap ideas with other Town News clients. And townnews.status.io, you can sign up for notifications about our service status across our platforms. And of course, you can follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I'd like to take the time to thank everybody who joined us today to review what went out in 2021 and take a peek at what's coming in 2022. And I'd like to thank all of the product managers who put together such a great presentation. You guys did awesome. Thank you so much.